My name is Shala. I'm your balanced living strategist, soon to become balanced living coach, and I'm here again talking about relationships. Today I'm going to be talking about marriage, and my husband and I have written this little book titled Staying Married. It's called Staying Married: 7 Key Strategies That You cannot do without. My husband and I head the marriage ministry of our church, and we've been doing that for about 6 years. So we've seen, we counsel people going through marital distress. We help people who are getting married. And this is sort of from our research and some of our experiences, and we just put this little book together. It's available as an e-download on www.sholashade.com. That's SHOLASHADE.com, and it's available as a free download. If you like to flip pages, it's available on Amazon. So today I'm going to be sharing a few things from this book. I'll just jump right in. First of all, Chapter 1, it says love is a virus, love is a verb, not a virus. A lot of times we like to behave as though love is a virus, something just bites you. You don't know where it's coming from. You don't know when it's going to leave. It just comes and it just goes. But that's not true. Love is not a virus. Love is not just a bunch of feelings that just hit you and you don't know. Love is commitment. Married love is commitment. Now, if you are married, make up your mind to renew your commitment to your marriage above your feelings. If you are getting married and you cannot commit to anybody, please, it's not by force to marry. There are many other things you can do besides marrying. Marriage is not a social obligation. Marriage is not something you just have to do just because everybody's doing it. And believe me, if you don't want to get married, don't get married. Because love is a verb. Love is in what you do for the other person. Love is in what you say. Every single day, the things you bring to marriage, your actions. Love is a decision. Love is actions. Love is showing the other person love and loving actions, even when they are not apparently deserving of supposedly of your love. Love, I know somebody who ran away from his wife because he didn't love her anymore after 2 years of marriage. This is somebody I know. This is not just I heard. Because, like I said, we meet a lot of people and, we try to help people with their marriages. But for a man to say, I don't love you anymore, and that's it, that's really, really pitiful. Love is a verb. If you don't take anything else away from this broadcast today, remember, love is a verb. Love is actions. Love is not a virus. Love is not a feeling. Amen, brothers and sisters. Okay, so moving on. The next chapter 2 is titled Don't Leave Me. Now, we all know that things happen to people in marriages. People change. Situations develop. Drug addictions, gambling, domestic violence. And sometimes one person just ups and runs away. But in the absence of those dire things, a lot of people break up their marriages over really little things that can be easily worked out. I don't love you anymore. It's not a reason to leave your marriage. It's a reason to revive your love. Some people rather break up their marriage rather than just read a couple of books like this one, or go to a marriage seminar or invest in their marriage. It's a pity that people would walk out of their marriage at the first sign of distress. But guess what? They're not leaving their jobs. They're not leaving their careers at the first sign of distress. They will put up with 60 years of crap, on a job and not leave. But yet somebody does something to them in their marriage. I'm out of here, blah, blah, blah. He squeezes the toothpaste tube from the middle, etc., etc. It's not right. If you're not married, and you cannot develop this ride or die mentality, then please, like I said, my husband says this to people, just don't marry. Don't let the other person live their life in peace. You live your life in peace. Marriage is not a social obligation. Thank you. Number 3. Okay, I'm going to talk about don't talk at me, talk to me. Now, a lot of people think the feelings of love are what sustain marriage. No, it's communication and understanding that sustains marriage, not love. When I say love, I mean love the virus, as in what Hollywood teaches us that love is. Communication is the lifeblood of any relationship, especially marriage. And now so many books have been written on communication, but there are just a few points to ponder about communication. Number one, you have to say it. Don't drop hints. If you drop hints, you didn't say it. Don't give your spouse the cold shoulder and think, well, I'm showing them how I feel. That's not communicating. You have to say it. You have to say what you want, whatever it is that's on your mind, you have to say it. Now, I'm not saying say it rudely or become verbally abusive. You have to say it in a way that your spouse will hear you and understand. How will they hear you? I don't know. They're your spouse, not mine. The point I'm making is don't just drop hints. Don't just yell at your spouse and think you're communicating. If there's something you have to talk about, sit them down, talk about it. That's number one. Number two, the other person has to hear you. So, if I say to somebody, I'm leaving the house and I say, go mow the grass. And then I come back 2 weeks later and I need a weed whacker to get through. And I'm like, I said to you mow the grass. I said, oh, I thought you said don't smoke grass. I didn't smoke grass. Haha. The other person has to hear you. If you're communicating something, you have to make sure that the other person hears what you're saying. And how do you do that? That brings me to number 3, feedback. At first, it might feel a bit funny to ask somebody, what did you hear me say? But it's a good habit to develop. I'm hearing you say da 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 da. For example, let me read something from my book. For example, you tell your wife, I think you're having a lot of stress at work. We need to do something. If you get the feedback, you may hear a wife say, you want me to give up my job. And that wasn't what you were trying to say at all. You weren't telling her to give up your job. You were just remarking that she's stressed on the job. But when you hear that feedback, then you can correct the miscommunication and move on. So there are just certain rules for communication. You don't hit your spouse. And no, wives aren't allowed to hit their husbands either. You speak to them, like I said before, in a way that they will hear and respond what you feel the issues are. I'm not saying tell them how you feel or get it all off your chest. No. That wasn't what I said. You communicate. You talk properly. You speak nicely. You don't call names. You don't use phrases like you never do this or you always do that, or throwing accusatory words like you do. It's better to come from a humble place of I feel this and I would like that, rather than you do, or you never, or you always. That sounds accusatory and just puts the person up on the defensive. So, don't shout, rant, and don't inject a contemptible tone into your voice. No, that's wrong. Don't try to talk to people during the time of the month. Don't try to talk to a guy during the game. Some things are just common sense. Unless, of course, it's an emergency. I mean, if the house is burning down, of course. Don't try to talk when people are walking through the door. Either they're coming in or they're going out. It's a bad time. You just have to pick your timing. If you know your spouse is crabby in the mornings, leave it till later, of course, unless it's an emergency. If it's not emergent, you can have a sit-down chat and make sure you communicate. And do it nicely. Let me give an example from my book. An example of good communication is like this. Remember how we used to go for a walk every week? It would be great if we could start that again. It makes me feel more connected to you. A bad way of saying the same thing would be, you're too busy for me. We don't even go for walks like we used to. You've become so boring. I wonder even if you love me more than that job of yours. Very bad communication. So, good communication, not lovey-dovey feelings, is the lifeblood of any marriage. So, I think I'm going to stop here. For the rest of it, there are 7 strategies. Head over to my website at www.sholashade.com for a free download of Staying Married, 7 key strategies you cannot do without. Have a blessed marriage and have a wonderful day. Thanks for listening.